These challenges, in our opinion, seem to have overwhelmed our security institutions.
The governors are supposed to be the state security officers of their state.
There is need for us to at least engage the traditional rulers.
We need to do something about our porous borders.
We have to own it from the unit level to the ward level to the local government to state.
Mr. President, the importance of today for us is for us to take action.
Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. This is one major landmark judgment.
Senate celebrates Supreme Court ruling on Electoral Act.
What can you do to propose solutions?
And Senate screens and confirms presidential nominees for ministerial positions. This is Inside the Senate. I am Hussaina Amina Aboki, your regular anchor. The Senate on Wednesday the 29th of June 2022 adjourned for the Eid-El-Kabir break and is built to resume on the 19th of July 2022. Before then, it screened presidential nominees for the position of ministers while adopting a resolution to intervene in the predicament facing former Deputy Senate President Ekweremadu in London. The Senate also mandated its Committee on Judiciary to intervene in the problem confronting the nation's judiciary. These and more in this episode of Inside the Senate. Stay tuned for details after the break.
The Senate will send a message to the President
to reap opportunities from that.
To raise a matter of urgent public importance. And we are aware that when this particular motion comes up,
For a longer term development,
arise to second the motion.
Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Welcome back. The predicament presently facing the former Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Ekweremadu in London, was the topic of discussion when the Senate held a closed-door session at the commencement of plenary on Wednesday the 29th of June 2022. Reporting progress after the session, Senate President Ahmad Lawan commended the Nigerian High Commissioner to Britain, Alhaji Ishola Sharafa, for providing consular and diplomatic services that included the engagement of lawyers that would defend Senator Ekweremadu at the Uxbridge Court, where he is undergoing trial in London.
Because this issue is already in court, we have limited opportunity to discuss beyond what we have done so far. We have also mandated our Committee on Foreign Affairs, the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, to engage with the British High Commission here in Nigeria to find more details of this case.
Finally, the Senate President said that a delegation of senators would take off for London to identify with the former Deputy President of the Senate. Meanwhile, the whole of Wednesday, the 29th of June 2022, was devoted to the screening exercise of presidential nominees for the position of ministers. The nominees' names were presented in a letter from President Muhammadu Buhari to the Senate on Tuesday, the 21st of June 2022. They include Henry I. Iko, Abia State; Umana O. Umana, Akwa Ibom State; Ekumankama J. Nkama, Ebonyi State; Goodluck N. Opia, Imo State; Umar El Yaqub, Kano State; Ademola A. Adegorie, Ondo State, as well as Odum Udi, River State. The report of the screening is compiled and presented from our studio.
I will serve diligently without fear or favor.
First to the screen was Chief Henry Ikechukwu Iko from Abia State, an industrialist and former Abia State Commissioner for Industry. One of the questions put to him had to do with the challenge of wealth scarcity.
If and when appointed as a Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, what advice or solution will you provide for the government to handle the issue of fuel and diesel scarcity that Nigerians are experiencing now.
The issue about fuel and diesel, most of the multinational companies in Nigeria always come and take our crude oil and go. I will advise the federal government to ensure that they establish refinery in the local community where they exploit all this crude oil. If they do that and begin to introduce modular refineries in those various communities, particularly Niger Delta community, the issue of employment will be checked. The issue of importing fuel and gas will be thing of the past.
After several other questions, he was asked to take a bow and go.
On account of my performance, I was awarded.
Next was Chief Umana O. Umana from Akwa Ibom State, who also is Chairman Oil and Gas Free Zone Authority. He spoke on some of his achievements.
I have initiated a number of reforms, have led an administration in that agency which has been transformative. And we, understanding that our mandate was to attract foreign direct investments into Nigeria by improving the business environment.
Lawmakers gave testimonies about him.
The nominee before you is one of Akwa Ibom exports to Nigeria.
I gave great thanks to Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in this circumstance that he has never been despotic, but he has actually made a very good choice.
Thereafter, he was asked to take a bow and go. When it was the turn of Ekumankama J. Ukama from Ebonyi State, his senators spoke well of him. However, one of the senators sought to know from him how he would go about confronting Nigeria's challenges.
You are expected to propose solutions to whatever challenges the country is facing, whether security or economic. And currently, we are equally facing very serious challenges in employment generation. Poverty is everywhere in the country. What can you do to propose solutions to these challenges?
I will encourage the youths to begin not to just look at the government employment as a source of earning, but to begin to look at opportunities that this fertile ground Nigeria affords us. Because foreigners coming to the country, they try to invest because they know that Nigeria is a fertile ground.
After more deliberations, he was then asked to take a bow and leave.
It is amazing to me.
Goodluck Nana Opia was next, an experienced legislator who made a commitment to serving Nigeria to the best of his ability.
I am very anxious and interested in contributing my quota in the development of our country.
He was elected into the Imo State House of Assembly, and he rose to become the Speaker of the Imo House. Mr. President, I want to say he gave a good account of himself.
With those very encouraging remarks, you can take a bow.
Accordingly, he took a bow and left.
Your Excellency, let me...
Following this was Umar Ibrahim El Yakub. He was a member of the House of Representatives from 1998 to 2003 and presently the Senior Special Assistant to the President on House of Representatives matters. His was commendation for the achievement of the 9th Assembly, particularly with enhanced legislative-executive relationship.
The 9th Assembly stand out as having done so much in ensuring legacy bills are passed and made into laws in this country.
In his capacity as Senior Special Assistant to the President, he has discharged his responsibilities with dignity and duty. And knowing fully well that we have to work together with the other side of government.
Thereafter, he was asked to take a bow and go.
I do not claim to have a monopoly of
The next
wisdom.
nominee was Ademola Adegoroye from Ondo State. Submissions by senators who spoke were in his favor. Even then, a question came up on the issue of ASU strike.
If you are given the permission to make your contribution before the Federal Executive Council, what significant advice will you offer to the Council on how to solve this significant problem?
I have no doubt that the government of APC government, led by General Muhammadu Buhari, has been taking steps to solve this problem. ASU always has one issue or the other. I'm not blaming them. I'm not casting aspersions. I'm not saying they don't have a right to disagree with government. But in doing this, the interests of Nigeria, the interest of our children, the interest of the city, of the system, must always, be thought about.
With this, he was asked to take a bow.
It will be an honor.
The last to be screened was Odum Udi from Rivers State, who wholly presented himself for national service and was supported by other senators.
I'm using this medium to thank Mr. President for nominating him to serve in the cabinet.
This young man sitting out there is a great mobilizer, has worked very hard for the local government, and I guess that is why he has been lifted to the ministerial position.
Thereafter, he was also asked to take a bow.
The exercise ended with the Senate President making the proclamation of the confirmation of all the nominees, following which they were confirmed.
The ayes have it.
Meanwhile, the spate of defection also continued same day, with Senator Ibrahim Shekarau in a letter to the Senate announcing his defection from APC to NNPP.
Accept please my fraternal goodwill and continued cooperation at all times. Signed, Senator Ibrahim Shekarau, CON, PEN, Sardauna Kano, representing Kano Central Senatorial District.
Those were some of the motions deliberated upon and resolutions adopted last week. Next is our notebook segment. Stay tuned for our subject of the week.
The legislature performs the following functions: 1. Lawmaking. 2. Representation. 3. Appropriation. 4. Oversight duties. 5. Ratification of bilateral treaties, as well as 6. Screening and confirmation of presidential nominees, a function carried out by the Senate only.
Welcome back from that break. Earlier on Tuesday, the 28th of June 2022, plenary was kick-started by a motion under personal explanation by the former Senate leader, Senator Yahya Abdullahi, over the Supreme Court verdict on the contentious issue of Section 84 of the amended Electoral Act, which has to do with the direct primary system of electing party candidates for elections. We have the report as compiled and presented from our studio.
The executive arm of government had instituted legal proceedings in the Supreme Court, requesting the nullification of the said section amongst other requests. The Supreme Court in its ruling recently turned down the request on the ground that it lacked jurisdiction to entertain the suit. While speaking on the Supreme Court verdict, Senator Yahya Abdullahi hailed the ruling and gave 2 reasons why it should be celebrated.
The first one is that it restored and anchors the power of making laws in the National Assembly. The second one is that it established a principle that once a president assents to a bill, he or she cannot appropriate and reprobate. He or she cannot go to the courts to amend or reject the bill in part or in whole.
Since it was a matter under personal explanation, it was not open to debate. However, the Senate President commented.
This is one major landmark judgment by the Supreme Court that the the National Assembly had done that job and the court upheld it. The idea of what method of primaries should be adopted at the moment is entirely left for the political parties to decide.
Similarly, the Senate last week resolved to intervene in some recent happenings in the Supreme Court. This caused its justices to write a petition to the then Chief Justice of Nigeria over deplorable welfare conditions and difficult working environment. The Senate President mandated the Committee on Judiciary to investigate the matter and report back immediately. While the investigation was ongoing, the matter climaxed into the resignation of the CJN on Sunday the 27th of June 2022 and the swearing in by President Muhammadu Buhari of the second most senior justice, Honorable Justice Olukayode Arowoola, as the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria. Even then, the committee chairman vowed to continue with their investigation.
Even though Honorable Justice Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed has stepped down as CJN, most of the issues raised by the justices of the Supreme Court and other stakeholders within the judiciary still remain and need to be addressed urgently to prevent an eventual shutdown of the judiciary.
Senators commented on the whole saga.
The National Assembly will always stand on the side of supporting the judiciary, because where judiciary is not supported, where judiciary is weak, then the pillar upon which our democracy is resting will definitely appear to be weak.
A lot of not only reorganization, but recognition ought to be made that the judicial arm is an independent arm of government. I'm not so sure that people have come to terms with that. I'm sure they still they're going to look at judiciary the way it was under the military, as if it were a subservient arm of government. Mr. President, this should not be allowed to continue. There's no reason why the judiciary should lack anything financially.
These problems we are having in the Supreme Court, reared its head during the constitutional amendment when we discussed the issue of welfare, that will put a time frame, amend the constitution to give room for periodic assessment instead of leaving things the way things are. In getting to the roots of this matter, because the issue of constitutional amendment has not yet gone, it's still with us, that part of this solution we have to go back to it.
One of the resolutions adopted was to mandate the Committee on Judiciary to interface with the relevant stakeholders in the three arms of government, as well as the bar and the bench, to work towards permanently resolving the matter. Same day also saw the presentation of some bills for second reading. One of them was the Council for Certification of Professional Counselors in Nigeria Establishment Bill 2022, sponsored by the Deputy Senate President, Senator Ovie Omo-Agegi.
Professional counselors maintain a specialized relationship of trust that empowers diverse individuals, families, and groups to accomplish wellness, mental health, education, and career development. Mr. President, in essence, the counseling assists people to gain self-understanding, appreciate their environment, and become effective and productive individuals. The overriding purpose of this bill is to ensure public protection by providing a statutory framework for the practice of counseling by qualified professionals only.
The issues in our society today have become very complex, multifaceted, and enduring. What more, with the onslaught of social media and all the challenges it poses, which is further compounding the complex and difficult nature of human relation. Mr. President, when you add the current scourge of drug addiction, drug abuse in our society, and you look at the increasing nature of dysfunctional families, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the social order of our society is definitely under threat. And so, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill is one very important piece of legislation that its time is now for this country.
We need counselors, we need professional counselors in this regard to be able to develop the minds of our people, and particularly the youth, in this particular situation where we are facing various issues of trauma, we are facing difficulties, we are facing a lot of violence around us, and I believe that with the assistance and of course the provisions of this particular bill, we'll be able to get professionals that can help not just the youth but other people that are in traumatic situations.
We need to be very, very careful because that term counselor is a very, very broad term, very, very broad. So we may have to, as this bill evolves, we may have to find a way of making the term more specific. Either social counselor, psychological counselor, family counselor. Because indeed, you can have counselors in the diplomatic service. You can have counselors in the financial sector. And you can have counselors in the legal sector. So we need to find a way to frame it so it will be specific, direct, and more professional.
After second reading, the bill was referred to the Committee on Establishment to report back in 4 weeks.
Now to our profile segment. The Vice Chairman, Committee on Defense, is our Senator of the Week.
Senator Istifanus Gang represents Plateau North Senatorial District under PDP. He attended Government Secondary School Rion for his West African School Certificate in 1981. He also attended Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in International Studies in 1986, and the University of Jos, finishing with a second-class degree in law in 2004. He was called to the bar in 2007. He also received a PhD honoris causa of the Commonwealth University Belize in Central America in recognition of his contributions to public service. An excellent administrator, Senator Gang worked in the public service for 24 years as a teacher, administrative officer, and a permanent secretary, and performed excellently, standing him out as a human personage with a profound commitment to human and societal upliftment at the grassroots and national levels. Senator Istifanus Gang contested to the House of Representatives in 2015 and won to represent Barkin Ladi Rion Federal Constituency under PDP. From there, he contested to the Senate in the 2019 general elections under PDP and won to represent Plateau North Senatorial District. In the Red Chamber, Senator Gang is the Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Defense, and a member of several other committees. His legislative interests are education, security, agriculture, and the economy.
It is on that note that we end this episode of our program. Join us next week for another package, and thanks for watching.